Hi, welcome to the Kachmann Wellness Show. Today, this 30 minutes here, I speak about preventing, stopping, reversing diabetes, which is a very important subject. And many other shows you can look at. And I've written a number of books about it. And what's really the good message, the great message to you today is that you can get rid of diabetes quickly. If you do some fasting, for example, I say a week or two, you can get rid of it. Yes, believe me, just believe me. And I will have in front of you books of people that confirm what I'm saying. So I'm not the last word here. I want you to get some other opinions. I mean, just look at this. I've been onto this really for many years, and I'm disappointed that our government, our doctors are not telling you how to prevent it, how to get rid of it. Prevention is the answer, but if you got it, which probably 80–90% of the people in this county have diabetes. Many are undiagnosed because they were in the wrong darn test. I'll tell you all about that. And the reason is, even myself, a healthy 134 pounds, if you put a donut in front of me with proper sugar and stuff on it, I'll probably eat it, because we are, by nature and evolution, many years ago, they want to make sure for us to stay alive that we would eat. But sugar was only available a few months a year, and that every minute and every day you walk outside and there's a fast food restaurant and you can eat it. So I wrote many different books, and I don't want you to necessarily read all these, but I just want to point out to you that I personally think it's the new slavery. We use slaves to produce sugar. We even stole them out of Africa and enslaved them and didn't care if they died or not. But now we're so addicted to it. The new slavery, prevent, stop, reverse sugar addiction. We're addicted to sugar. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. I debated it one time on this show, actually, with a woman, and she is. And I was saying cocaine is more addictive, and she is sugar. I think she won the debate, and it's true. People agree, and you just think about it. Get on your computer, Google it, and pull up Fort Wayne school breakfast and lunch, and look at it. I looked at it. I do frequently cinnamon buns for breakfast. And milk. I can, other times we'll read books to you about milk being not very healthy because the chemicals that are in it. And they're feeding this to our kids. Yes, they are. When you look at the diet, they're feeding them a high sugar, addicted diet. They're making addicts out of our children, sugar addicts. Absolutely. I'll say it. If the school board doesn't agree with me, call me. I'll bring you the books and give you the evidence. Okay? I hope to speak to the school board sometime in the future. Maybe they don't know. Maybe their nutritionists misled them. Who knows? But let's do something about it. I'm not for placing blame. I'm not for punishment. I'm for correcting the problem. Why? Because diabetes causes 20, 30 diseases, which are horrible. We're filling our hospitals full of these patients. I've been to the hospitals and talked to their diabetic department, but I'll be honest with you, they're not interested in teaching. They're interested in teaching, prescribing. They're making a lot of money. Is that their motivation? I don't know. I don't think it's lack of knowledge necessarily. I've laid the books on their table, and they don't seem to read them, call me up, or I've been doing this show here 13 years. They don't call me up and say, Rudy, could I be on your show and give you my opinion about it? Not one of them called. I called them. One did appear, and I was going to put it on my show. And then he called me back, and he said, well, I need to speak to our marketing department and see if they agree. That's been a month ago. I personally don't think he will call me back. He'll have some excuse why they can't do this. But what I'm glad to say is this is going to YouTube. And the nation of India called me up. The ambassador called me up. Yes. Would you believe it? I'm flying high. Matter of fact, I just walked down the hall a few minutes ago, and a minister came up to me. He was touring with some parishioners. He said he had lost 70 pounds. And thank me. I hope he calls me back like he said he would, and I'll put him on the TV show. But let me tell you what diabetes causes, which could be prevented 90% of the time. We have type 1 diabetes where you make no insulin. Okay, that's different than type 2. I'm speaking mainly about type 2. But type 1 is where your pancreas is destroyed through an autoimmune reaction. It can occur, though, from things, drinking milk, because all the chemicals that are added to it, and that they added to the food, that milk, the cow, so that's one reason. Also, high vegetable diet, the gluten in vegetables, an allergic reaction can destroy the pancreas. People need to know that. So that's type 1, where you make no insulin. You need to take some insulin. But if you follow a proper way of eating, which I'll teach you, good fats, 25% protein, 15% vegetables or so, you need very little insulin, because insulin has side effects. But if you're type 1, you need it. But 20 units of insulin have a lot less side effects than 100 if you're eating what you want, and then you just check your sugar and you just take the insulin, which a lot of people do. You live a little bit longer, but you still die in your 60s and 70s. So what are the side effects of diabetes which can be avoided? Let's speak about it. Blindness, retinal disease, hearing problems, cataracts, dementia, memory loss. The biggest cause of Alzheimer's disease is diabetes. Hardly anybody's pushing it, but diabetes is the biggest cause. Dental disease. The bacteria that are in your gums love sugar. If you're eating a high sugar diet and your blood is full of sugar, your teeth will have those bacteria and viruses, because the sugar is there. It goes to the brain, it goes to the gut, it goes to the heart, and causes disease. Yes, we don't teach our children to brush our teeth. My parents didn't teach me to brush my teeth. I'm amazed I'm alive at age 83 3 days ago, 134 pounds. Wonder why? Well, and so Weston Price from Cleveland, a dentist in the 30s, went around the world because he saw so much dental disease and studied many different cultures, people living high up in the mountains, and isolated cultures, I think 21 countries, 14 continents, and he had them smile and he took their pictures. And he could then determine what they were eating and match their teeth. Yeah, a very Weston A. Price. Never met a doctor ever had read his book. You can get it on Amazon Books. A great, very great book to look at, to read, anticipating the diseases. Thyroid cancer, heart disease, liver disease, amputations, dislocations, many different types of cancer. Cancer's a sugar feeder. Cancer loves to eat sugar. So if you're diabetic, you have a much higher breast cancer rate. I even wrote a book on breast cancer, describing all that. You know, we send all the money that we raise in Fort Wayne, and Vera Bradley sends it to Indianapolis for genetic research. But breast cancer is largely caused by diabetes. Some people with diabetes can be thin, trophies, thin on the outside, but fat in their pancreas and their liver, and that is what determines diabetes, whether there's fat in the pancreas and the liver. So overweight people, most are diabetic, but not everybody. So to get properly tested. And the one I really like to recommend is a serum insulin test, because that is elevated 10 to 15 years before your blood sugar ever goes up. Yes. When the Korean soldiers, Vietnamese soldiers, American soldiers died, you know, very young people, 18, 19, 20, they had autopsies, and they found the Vietnamese and the Koreans, they had no vascular disease. The American soldiers had vascular disease, although no symptoms. They were on the path. They had fatty streaks on their arteries, and they would certainly develop diabetes, vascular disease, and die at a young age. That's been known for many years. Their serum insulins have been elevated, but they never checked. They still don't check it. I think industry has got us by the throat because they make a lot of money off these diabetic diseases. They can be prevented. Our hospitals would probably be 75% less full if we taught people and not addict children to sugar in the school system with the school lunches. Yes, and it even promotes it more in certain ethnic racial groups because they have less money and they gotta eat their food. They won't even let me into the school to look at what they're serving, to confirm what I'm saying, take some pictures, whatever. So how can you prevent and reverse this disease? Number one is don't be addicted to sugar. So the school lunch program has to be attacked, but that causes so much disease that keeps industry, processed food industry, the government, the politicians, they're all involved in this. They're all bribing each other, no doubt about it. So what would I like you to do to get rid of it? I tell you, a very good online site to look at is a Dr. David Unwin, U-N-W-I-N, David. Him and his wife, Jen. Jen was teaching psych. He was a general practitioner in England in around 1912 or so. Overweight, he was, yeah, overweight, diabetic. His wife, same thing, and the patient walked in. And he didn't recognize her. He'd been treating her for 8, 9 years. Remember, this is a socialistic closed system. And he didn't recognize her. Why? Because she had lost so much weight. She had learned through a group of ladies who formed an association who were getting rid of their diabetes through proper eating the right food, and instead of being closed-minded, he was open-minded and listened to her, and he was a very kind doctor, and so did his wife, who taught psychology to begin with, but she switched into working closely with him, and he learned how to avoid diabetes, and he realized, after doing proper research, in England they keep the research data for 35 years, from the day you're born till the day you die, so it's a lot easier to research. He joined a Roy Taylor, whose book, Life Without Diabetes, that I have here. You can get it online for $9, I think, or PDF, probably $2 or $3, okay? They have YouTube shows. You speak to Google and say shows on YouTube shows on diabetes by Dr. David Unwin. and Dr. Roy Taylor. And they will come up, and you can watch those and educate yourself. It takes a little bit of education, because your doctor may not say, well, I'm not going to stop your insulin, your metformin and drugs. But diabetes is a disease of a lifetime. Wrong. You can get rid of 95% of diabetes by proper lifestyle, proper way of eating. Dr. Taylor did it. Dr. David Unwin did it. Dr. David Unwin now goes all over the world teaching what he's teaching, and his YouTube shows to reach the rest of the world. Can you imagine the influence I have? He's saving the English medical care a great deal of problems, because they don't need to take the medicine anymore. They don't get the illnesses from diabetes. He's saving them a tremendous amount of money. And how do you motivate the system? What he brought up, which I think was really excellent, what they need to do is to pay the medical system to say, if we have somebody with diabetes, it's proven that they take medication, and the doctor gets rid of it by working with the patient, seeing them back, educating the patient, they give them X dollars. I think that would be excellent. Excellent. There's motivation there. And otherwise, you see a doctor for 10 minutes. Oh, I'll see you in a year. Well, that's not going to do it. The patient needs to be educated by the doctor through handouts. And an interesting thing, which Dr. Unwin did, and you can get this copy of this for free online. Okay, I have a copy here. I mean, visual memory really is better than oral memory, actually seeing it. And what he did is determine a food, for example, rice. You say, rice, is that sugar? You go to Google, there's no sugar. It's carbohydrate, that's sugar, okay? So don't get fooled, it's a 90% sugar. In India, for example, who now look at my YouTube shows because of all the diabetes that they have, and they do it off their phone, he will tell you how many teaspoons full that are in a certain food, in a certain amount. And he put this visual out here, and you can't see it here, but I highly, maybe we can blow it up a little bit, but you're going to eat, but you can copy it without cost right off the internet. I did, that's how I got a hold of this. And teaspoonful of sugar, like basmati rice, on the glycemic index, which tells you how high your sugar is 10.1 teaspoonful of sugar. These white things you're seeing, a teaspoonful. And compare it to frozen peas boiled, 1 teaspoonful. So you can compare like an oatmeal patch, 3 teaspoonful. Okay, so you can compare the different foods, how much sugar they have in them, which I think is an excellent thing to do, to give you some idea, because remember what I said, that you can prevent and you can get rid of diabetes 90% of the time. Don't accept it. All the diseases that I mentioned, I didn't mention a lot of them, but anytime you see an amputated person, odds are they have diabetes. Yeah, odds are a good, without spending any money. And that, remember, I said not everyone is overweight as diabetes, but there's a good chance you are. If you can go up to a wall and the belly touches the wall before the rest of you does, well, odds are you're diabetic, but not 100%. So get a serum insulin, not just a blood sugar. Remember, the blood sugar So when the serum insulin is elevated, there's no such thing as pre-diabetes. They call it that, but you're diabetic. Changes occurring in your body. Remember, I spoke about the autopsies on the Korean and the American soldiers. So, what are other good books to read? This is a good book, Goodbye Pills and Needles, by Jim Jelinek. He says, in a 90-day cure, actually, you can get it'll go away a lot quicker than that. When you read Roy Taylor's book, the one I held up before, you can get rid of it much quicker than that. And if you do the way I eat, I don't have diabetes or anything, but I do fasting. So I wrote a book, Rudy's War on Diabetes. I declare war. We can get rid of it, for Pete's sake. I don't accept it. I declare war on diabetes. We need to teach it, okay? And the medical system is not doing it. So you got to do some reading, look at YouTube, and look at David Unwin, Roy Taylor's work, my work. If you go to YouTube, I've got 700 TV shows on there. You can go through them. It's not just about diabetes. It's more than that. The nation of India is doing it because they have the largest number of diabetics in the world. But we have the highest percentage. I'd say 80–90% of the people in this town are diabetic. I stand behind what I say. If they did the serum insulin testing, because you really get changes in your body. You may not have any symptoms yet, and incidentally, kidney disease is highly related to diabetes. They go together. So when you get tested, you get a GFR, glomerular filtration rate, because when your GFR mine is 80, when a kid would be 100, as you get, your rate of filtering goes down. When you're 35, you're dialyzed. But the dialysis centers aren't out there preventing this disease. Yeah. They want the business, but once you're in dialysis, you're tied up on a machine many hours a day. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want that to happen to you. If you're, this would work for anybody, is simply Keto by Susan Ryan. Okay, fantastic book. First 60 pages, she explains what keto is, and I'll talk about it a little bit. What I love about her book is that she has recipes in there. You don't have to eat 2 meals a day like I do. You can eat 3 meals a day, but if you want to get rid of your diabetes quicker, eat 2 meals a day. They have pictures of the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinners. On every page, she has calorie counts, how much fat, how much protein, how much carbohydrates, written on every page. And the food, just look at it. I mean, I'm not asking you to not eat good tasting food. No, it's a type of food is we're talking about, the one that doesn't raise your blood sugar right away. And there's a picture of her and her husband in the beginning of the book, and it's a picture of her here. And I don't know if you can see it there, but she lost over 100 pounds. And her husband did the same darn thing. So this is a great way. I took a church recently, which I was giving talks on, and I noticed they were, almost all of them were overweight. 2 men and ladies, about 20 people. And I noticed Simply Keto by Susan Ryan. You can go online, and a book is about $39, but I found there are plenty of used copies on there, and you know how much they are? $5. Yes. So I bought one for every one of the 20 people. It hardly cost me anything, and I decided we should all follow this book. I saw them back about 6-8 weeks later. Most of them had lost 15, 20 pounds, and their diabetes had gone goodbye, every one of them. So please, do a little reading, look at the YouTube shows, of Dr. Taylor, Dr. Ehrman, myself, because you don't want to be a slave to sugar. And for some of us, it may be more difficult to get rid of it. Most people can get rid of their sugar addiction 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, you can. And if you do the 16-8 fasting, which I do, so you're living on ketones, when you're fasting in the mornings, I go out and play pickleball, not having eaten breakfast, and I feel fine. And the reason is your body secretes about 5 hormones: growth hormones, steroids, the appetite hormone, ghrelin goes down, CCK from the bowel is secreted, and they keep your sugar level up. So when the sugar level is normal or slightly elevated, you don't feel hungry. And you're living off ketones because the insulin goes down, the sugar goes down because you're eating it, glycogen goes down, which is stored sugar, and you're living off ketones, and I don't get hungry, even because I'm playing sports, playing pickleball or taking a walk, singing to the birds, which I do, and my blood sugar level is even, and the sports activity increases more steroids. I'm even less hungry, and then if you eat maybe a cup of eggs, some guacamole, you know, good fat, some bacon, and your other meal almost doesn't matter what you eat. Yes, even I have desserts here and there, but I weigh 134 pounds. I did today. My body has in it a set point. My body has in it, I think, a set point every day. I seem to weigh about the same. So I'm learning things too by all this reading and doing and trying to be an example. But you must take charge of your health. I went to a medical society meeting last night, and all this spoke about is politics, and the state meeting and that meeting, health wasn't even brought up. Mm-hmm. Health was hardly brought up. But they knew that I was teaching it on YouTube and books. They know it. Brother Never came over and said, we're going to give you an award, Dr. Kachmann, for reversing diabetes. A lot of people are getting well, and the medical community knows about it. They walk up to me every day when I'm walking, wherever I'm walking. They say, I lost 30 pounds, my diabetes gone. Thank you, Dr. Kachmann. I'm not looking for a thank you. I'm not looking for anything except I'm a doctor, so I try to teach it to you. So I want you to read some of these books, and Simply Keto by Susan Ryan. Incidentally, look at her YouTube shows. She has on there Keto Karma, a YouTube show speaking about the psychology of eating. But thanks for listening. Help spread the word. This is a pandemic across the world, and we're leading. We're connecting to India, to Rwanda now, and we must take charge of our health. And we can do it. We can do it. So many people come up to me every day and say they have done it, and look online, use the books. Why am I doing this? Because I love you. I care about you. I want you to play pickleball with me when I'm 100. Bye-bye. We love you. Namaste.